Hi guys, my name is Matti Sulanto and I'm a photographer. In my recent video, I said I'm going to buy 2 new camera systems, and this is one of the 2 new camera systems or new cameras. This is the Panasonic Lumix S5 Mark II X. And in this video, I'm going to share my very first impressions on this camera, even though I haven't really used this camera for anything meaningful yet. However, I have plenty of experience with the original S5. And in many ways, this camera is the same camera as the original S5. This has vastly superior autofocus system, and this X model has some extra video features as well. And strictly speaking, this is not a new system for me because I still own the original Lumix S1. I just haven't been using this camera much lately, and I haven't been investing in this system lately up until now. And here is a disclaimer. I bought this camera and 2 lenses, this kit lens and the 50 f1.8 with my own hard-earned money. This video is not sponsored by Panasonic or anyone else. And I wanted to say this because this camera has had quite a lot of exposure here on YouTube during the past few months, because Panasonic has given this camera to people, or they have paid some YouTubers to make videos about these cameras, and I think that is just fine. And whatever those people have been saying in their videos, I think it's probably reliable. I don't think they have lied or anything, but I still want to mention that this is not a sponsored video. I bought this camera with my own money. I bought this specific model because it has some advanced video features that I wanted to explore and try out. This is also comparable to my Sony A7 Mark IV, and I wanted to see how these 2 cameras compare in real life on long term. I did not want any Lumix Micro Four Thirds cameras or any Micro Four Thirds cameras, because if I ever want to buy a new Micro Four Thirds camera again, I want something like this. I don't want anything like this. And all the latest Micro Four Thirds cameras, both Panasonic and OMDS, they are more like this and they are not like this. And what appeals to me in Micro Four Thirds is compact size and weight. Anyway, here are my very first impressions with this camera. First of all, I like the styling on this X model. It's very modest, inconspicuous. I love the blacked out letters here at the front, and everything is very modest looking, and I like that. I wish many more cameras would be like this. The only downside is that the mode dial is a little bit hard to use, especially in dim light, because you can't see what is on the dial, because the letters or symbols are quite dark gray against black. But other than that, I really like this modest, inconspicuous styling. I also like the ergonomics a lot. I would describe this as a medium-sized full-frame camera. It's not the smallest camera, but it's also not very big. The grip is really comfortable, and I feel I could hold this camera all day long without feeling any fatigue in my hand. I also like how they designed the viewfinder so that it sticks out from the camera a little bit more than on many other cameras, and when I'm looking through the viewfinder, I don't have to push my nose so hard against the back of the camera or the screen if I have the screen like this. Very nice detail. One of the things I was really looking forward to was the new autofocus system, and it's awesome. It's on another level compared to any previous Panasonic with the DFD system. In photography, the subject tracking is very good, but not quite as sticky as on my Sony A7 Mark IV or on my Sony A6700, but it's still very good. In video, the face tracking is very important for me because I'm gonna be using this camera for some of my YouTube videos, and of course I want the camera to be able to track my face. And so far it's been very reliable in my initial tests and I'm a little bit impressed. I think the original Panasonic DFD focusing system was or is not nearly as bad as we are led to believe by many reviewers. I think it was perfectly good for street photography, portrait photography, travel photography, landscape photography, and for many other situations. However, it was not ideal for any fast-moving subjects like birds, wildlife, sports, or something like that. And it was totally abysmal for video. Totally unreliable, unusable if you needed any kind of reliable tracking or any kind of reliable autofocus in video. However, this new system that combines DFD and PDAF is so much better, vastly superior compared to DFD only. And I'm so happy that Panasonic finally decided to go for PDAF, and at the same time they became very, very competitive. The original S5 was a really good camera, but I think the main reason why people never really got excited about that camera was the DFD autofocus system. But other than that, it was a really great camera. It had some features that none of the full-frame competitors had and still don't have, like for example live composite. And it also had class-leading video features, except for the autofocus, which is vital for many video creators like myself. There are so many more good things I'd like to say about this camera, but I'm gonna save those until a later video in which I can hopefully also share some decent photos. But what's with the title of this video? It says The Sad Case of Panasonic, and I'm so happy with this camera. Well, I think it's quite sad how Panasonic decided to stick with their inferior DFD autofocus system for so long. Because I think they sort of missed their chance to dominate the camera market, full-frame market, and this whole YouTuber creator scene. Because I think the most important reason why so many people went for Sony at some point here on YouTube was the reliable autofocus, which, believe me, is vital and important when you are doing something like this. If you are a solo video creator, having a reliable autofocus system makes everything so much easier. Panasonic had better video features than most of the competitors, but they didn't matter because a reliable autofocus is so much more important, especially here on YouTube and among YouTube creators. And let's face it, this whole YouTube is one of the reasons why so-called Sony hype exists. I think if Panasonic went for PDAF early on instead of trying to reinvent the wheel with their DFD system, they now would have a much bigger chunk of the camera market and especially of the full-frame market. And that makes me really sad because they have always made really nice cameras. But as soon as Sony and other manufacturers came out with the better autofocus system, people naturally wanted to buy those more than Panasonic cameras. These were my rambling initial impressions and thoughts on the Panasonic Lumix S5X camera. I'm going to get back to this camera in many of my future videos, so stay tuned. And if you found this video useful or entertaining or amusing, please do consider buying me a cup of coffee. There's a link down below for that if you don't live in Finland. Thank you so much, and I'll definitely see you soon in the next video.